Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Path to Profit podcast. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Bobby. And every single week, I like to take a few stocks and do an in-depth chart breakdown, going through both the fundamentals and the technicals to help you guys take a look at some of the action in the current market. Without further ado, let's get started with this week's chart breakdown. All right, as always, in the description, we got timestamps if you would like to jump around. And for this week, we got a viewer request for Super Microcomputer. So the first question I always ask myself is, what exactly does this company do? Super Microcomputer is very similar to like a Dell or an HP. They do a lot within servers and storage kind of stuff. Now, they're involved in 5G, Internet of Things, AI, all in that sort of space. They're not as big or as a common household name as like your Dell and your HP, but in the industry, they are known for being stable, reliable, and cost effective. Now, here's what sets them apart from a lot of their competitors. If you remember a few years back, there was that whole China scandal where they were inserting chips into stuff that was actually coming over to the United States and tracking a lot of different things through these servers. Well, once that happened, Super Microcomputer decided we're not going to mess around with that. We're making everything in the United States. So they are a US-made company, all of their products. And I think that's one of the things that really sets them apart from, again, like a Dell or an HP. But other than that, let's jump over to MarketSmith and start off by looking at some of the fundamentals. I always like to take a quick look at the composite rating. We're at a 96. Very good. EPS rating, 99. Some of the best when it comes to EPS rating. So this is a great sign. And when you take a further look down and you look at the earnings per share on a quarterly basis, you could see 4 quarters in a row, triple digits. If you look at September's, 490% increase compared to the prior year. Huge increase in terms of EPS. Really positive to see that, as well as to see the acceleration that's going on an annual basis. Same thing. You can see the acceleration here, all positive there. Sales, consistent growth in the sales. You can see that right here, double digits, last quarter being 54%. Looking at the funds, you want to see where the big institutions are and what money they're putting at to work with what companies. So you can see, definitely seeing an increase here. One thing I like to look at is Investors Business Daily has a select group of mutual funds and trying to see what exactly they have in their list of any of their mutual funds that are approved actually in this stock, and none here. But yeah, looking at my checklist, you can see 85%. This is where it says fails on the EPS acceleration. I think we can all agree they are accelerating, so that's definitely a false fail. So really the only area it's lacking in terms of my criteria that I look for, which follows CANSLIM, is the industry groups, top 40 industry groups. We're at 120 out of 197. And I think the big thing we could say is that group definitely has been lagging. If you actually look at HP and you look at Dell and you look at a lot of the competitors that fall into this realm, they have definitely been lagging. Now, when we jump over to the weekly chart, let's take a look here. That's the first thing I want to say. You can see that this stock has definitely been outperforming the S&P. You have the S&P's trend right here. It's going in the complete opposite direction. And if we quickly look over at like a Dell, you can see outperforming Dell. I actually forget HP is their actual. Is that it? No. All right. Needless to say, you can look up HP. I forget what theirs is off the top of my head, but definitely bucking the trend when it comes to both their competitors as well as the overall market. RS rating at a 96. And on a weekly basis, you can see the RS line is in somewhat of a downtrend as of recently. So I would definitely take a mental note of that for sure. Let's jump over into a daily chart. I like doing that. Just gives you a little bit more of an in-depth insight. And the first thing that pops up to me when looking at this is definitely been acting fairly volatile. You can see these big upswings, big downswings, very, very choppy action throughout this base. Not as much of a uniform pullback, tightening, and then turning around. The other thing that jumps out to me is I wouldn't say this has really, truly broken the downtrend. Yes, it has gotten back above its 50-day simple moving average. Well, we've seen that happen before within this space. It is still inside of that, I would say, downtrending channel that we're looking at right here. Other than that, I think it's one of those, you can see the up volume coming in here, which is a positive sign. Like I said, breaking through on that 50-day simple moving average, another positive sign. But we're still 11% from the pivot, which is the 95.22. And where I sit right now, I just don't see any type of early entry that I would want on something like this. Yes, maybe you could draw like somewhat of a trend line through the top. And if we do break through that on high volume, you could get in a little early. But this isn't one of those stocks that I'd be willing to jump in with an early entry. It's not something that's screaming at me that this could be the next true market leader. I should be a part of this. So I reserve early entries for things like that, or for things that have very, very tight spots that can get in with limited risk. Overall, with this big thing, just be patient, wait, keep an eye on it. I think the fundamentals look excellent. I think the chart is a little sloppy and a little subpar. So yeah, if this is a stock that you have a lot of conviction in, just be patient and wait and see if this breaks out, and always have a plan on the upside and the downside. Now, as a quick bonus, the same person also requested that I take a look at TheChartBreakdown, I believe is the proper way to say that. I'm going to go through this one really quick. I did not research what this company does because I kind of took a look at it, and to me, it wasn't something that I would even consider. So that gives you an idea of where I'm going with this. But quick look, the fundamentals are okay. There's nothing crazy. It's an 88 composite, 98 on the EPS. You know, you can look down here. It's mediocre. Nothing screaming at me like this is an amazing company that I have to do some further in-depth research with. Show you my checklist. You can see that right here. It's only 46 on the checklist. Industry group 75, everyone 197. So nothing that's screaming at me that's that great. But I think this is where I get very turned off by a stock like this. Number one, it's the RS rating, 73. So not that great. Number two, just even looking at it from a weekly basis, you could see that this has been in a consistent downtrend, and there really isn't a clean consolidating base that has been building. That right off the bat is something that becomes a concern to me. If we zoom in real quick on the daily, I just don't see a place where it's a nice, clean, comfortable base that I can get in. It's still in this downtrend. It's just, to me, this is not the type of setup that I look for. Being probably, I guess the best way to identify myself would be a CANSLIM trader. So yeah, for me on TheChartBreakdown, this one's just going to be a pass for me. But I definitely wanted to at least put this in the video because I know this was, again, the second requested stock by the same person who was asking about Supermicro Computer. But yeah, that's all we got for this episode. I appreciate everybody joining us. If you have any stocks that you'd like me to take a look at, please comment down below. Reach out to me on any form of social media. Be glad to look at any of these stocks and either make a video, or even if you don't want me to make a video, I could just actually reply to you with some information. So that's all we got for this week. If you made it this far, if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe down below. We do this and many other episodes every single week, so turn on notifications. Right there, got another chart breakdown that you can take a look at, or bottom right hand corner, you can take a look at our rapid review, our market review that we do every single week. So both those down there. Other than that, that's all we got. Appreciate everybody. See you again next week. Stay disciplined.